We're starting off right off the bat because this is what this entire practice is about, right? Minimizing the friction as much as possible, straight up to executions. No, seems like there's a little more light than normal, but isn't that a good thing always? Bruh. Let's go. Okay. YouTube music. Drank a little bit of water. In the British accent, the only word I can do well is water. Even that's bad. Good evening, welcome back to In the Khud. This is 2nd September 2022, 8 p.m. and vlog number 50th video. Talk about consistency. I've missed 5 days, so it's not been like past 50 days, but still. This is like probably the most consistent project I've done ever. Bruh. The most beautiful thing is nobody sees it, nobody knows about it, it's still a secret. Apparently I did see the subscriber count go up from 2 to 3. 2 I know how there are 2, but there's one more somewhere who subscribed. So gotta be a little more careful. Bruh. Today woke up at 5:45, which is amazing, and finally I've broken the chain of just these days of nothing to document at the end of the day and like kind of just ranting about mindset and all that nonsense. It was a really beautiful day outside when I took Snowy down for a walk, in those early winter, like the onset of winter mornings where, in the wind, in the breeze, in the air, you can smell winter. So it just takes me back to overall school days, especially the sports day. Then after I came back, I watched one animation section video from the Cubic Worlds course, and I've written something here. It's super difficult to use cycles as renderer for longer animations. It makes complete sense to use Eevee and use the Cubic Worlds style for click reflect animations. They look pretty nice, but at the same time, since it's Eevee, life is a lot easier both working and rendering. So I'm going to avoid using cycles because cycles rendering just that 6-second moving meditations animation almost took like forever. And more than the rendering part, what concerns me is the fact that when you have cycles enabled in the viewport, if you enable denoising, it just smudges everything up to the point that you can't even see you can't make out what's happening. So like real-time feedback of what the animation looks like is very important, which you can get in Eevee. And Cubic Worlds like tells you how you can use Eevee as a renderer to still get high quality looking animations and not using cycles. So I'm going to stick to that. One thing that I did learn today, adding wiggles to objects can easily make jellies like this. So I will quickly actually just show you what I mean here. And we're at 3:30. Cool, trying to wrap it up by 8 minutes mark. Okay, let's say I have this GZ1, bring it to here. Now to this, I'm just gonna come in here. I'm gonna firstly add a null, so empty plane axis. To this, I'm gonna add the displace modifier. Okay, over here, we're gonna click new, go into generate a texture. Over here, just choose clouds. And now the black parts is the depression and white parts is the elevation. So you can just make it a little bigger. You see already things are happening there. Now with this, you come in here and okay, you just select this object, hit N, and let's move it in the X direction with hash frame. So you'll see that this is, oh god, not this. Talking about the empty. Yeah, now it's moving very fast. Okay, you don't want it so fast. You want it into 0.01. Okay, now it's moving on the x-axis. Now what you're gonna do is come in here, your displacement modifier, choose coordinates from local to object, and object is gonna be this empty. Okay, now you almost have a sort of wiggle happening, which is dependent on two things: the strength here and the speed of this null. Okay, now let's say if I just want the top part of this to move, not the whole thing, and go in here, select the top two vertices, come into vertex group, add a vertex group, assign just for good measure, come back in to the object mode. Over here, displace, here you have vertex group. Okay, just select group. Now only the top ones are gonna wiggle. So it's kind of like a jelly situation. Again, if you just make this speed of this into 0.01, instead you make it 0.1, then you'll have this more jiggly stuff happening. Okay, that's one good thing. The other thing that I learned of adding motion is, let's say just add a UV sphere, shade it smooth, a good measure. I just want to delete these two things, the cube and that. Okay, just left with this one thing. Okay, just leave it there. You add an empty plane axis. let's say I want to wiggle this in your Y position, like something very basic you do inside After Effects all the time. So you want to come in here, you want to go into your animation tab, and over here you want the graph editor for this. Graph editor, okay, let's say I go into the first, like the start of the animation, and here to this I add on Y, right? No, Z. So I'm gonna right click here and say insert single keyframe. So only Z location is added, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Then you come into the graph editor, N, and add a modifier where we had 7. Done. Khatam. Bye bye tata. And we add noise. Okay. So this is basically giving you a very fast kind of jittery animation. What you want to do is you want to come in here and play with the scale. So you make it bigger and you play with the phase to randomize things a bit. Okay, so you have that regular, like I was manually keyframing this up until now because I didn't know how to do it, but yeah, here you go. This is how you do it. Make it faster, just reduce the scale, and then this will happen. Nice. Small things I've learned. Big shout out to this video, Ultimate Motion Graphics Challenge with Jake Bartlett, Ben Marriott and Jake Bartlett, both of my favorite motion graphics / After Effects creators, so it was amazing to see this collaboration. Do check this video out. 1204 wrote the opacity switch script in its crude form. The only way to get all my scripts in during the tight timeline work days is take time and courage in between workflows to write down the script. Now we're at 8 minutes. Got 2 minutes, can't exceed 10 minutes. Now this is the script opacity switch. Let me just quickly show you what this does. It's gonna be very useful, and I did not make it just in its crude form. I've actually made it dockable, so that's even better. This project I was working on, okay, so this is one layer called paper here. Now this is the thing, opacity switch. I have to of course put all of these in a proper format, like 1 2 3 4 5. This is randomly placed, but yeah, this is a read. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna press this button, and now I have an opacity switch. So if I just switch this on and off, the opacity will go on and off. And if I want to just come in here and put keyframe, so let's say I put a keyframe here, and then I shut it. So that's your opacity switch, and you can bring it back again if you want. So that I feel is huge. I'm gonna quickly and one more thing. I can do this for multiple layers. Okay, so I actually can't mess with this project because you never know, something might just come up. But let's say I want to take this and this sticker and this top, and then I want to come and press the opacity switch. So that switch has been added to all these layers, so it works across like multiple selected layers as well. That's good, nice functionality. The point that I was trying to say is I can't just keep thinking that, oh, someday I'm going to be free and I'm going to write down all these scripts that will help with my workflow. That's not going to happen. In the middle of these intense workflows and tight timelines making work, I don't know if outside noise is coming. There's outside noise from here as well. In between those intense workflows, I have to take the time to think and code, because this makes life a lot easier than manually doing everything. Quickly running through the code. This is the entire doc, so I'll just go through this here. Project is app.project, comp is the active comp, okay. This layers is com.selected layers, then layers which are selected. Begin undo group, for run a for loop from where 0 to the length of layers. Layers.length is the number of selected layers. Like here we had 3 selected layers, we run from 0 to 3. Variable layer is layers I, that means the ith loop. So first time it will be first selected layer, second time it will be second selected layer, nth time it will be nth selected layer. Okay, here we say layer.property effects.add property Adobe checkbox control. So this thing here which you see is called Adobe checkbox control. Effect is layer.property effects or property. That effect's name is opacity switch. So if you go in here, you'll have effect, opacity switch, and then checkbox here. So for that checkbox, I made the value as 1. Okay, it's not here. Name, I made it opacity switch from checkbox control, and its value I set to 1. You can't just say dot value equals to 1 because it's a read-only value. Apparently you can change read-only values by using set value function. That's so weird. But anyway, you're anyway changing the value, right? How is it read-only then? So on opacity, I'm just simply adding this very simple expression because I find this to be the easiest way to make scripts, right? Value is equal to this thing. If this thing is 1, value, as in whatever the current opacity of the layer was, else 0. And I've said value because some layers can be at, like, let's say starting 30% opacity. I want to make a switch from that point itself. So the checkbox on will keep it at 30%, else it will take it down to 0. And that's the app.end undo group. So episode number 50 for In the Khud has quite a few things going on with both Blender and After Effects. The love of my life. Other than that, I've exceeded 12 minutes, but the day was pretty eventful, right? One of those days where it just starts and you like, at the end of the day, you're like, oh my god, that was today morning. There's a lot of adventures still left in the day. So like we have to go for Visarjan now, and then after that maybe go and visit the Ganpati. So quite a few things to look at. But other than that, in the whole day today I worked on the animation, got on a call for that again didn't go well because they were expecting a lot of things and we didn't. I've done the first 40 or 45 seconds of that video. Monday, Tuesday I have to work on that now. Very good thing that happened is at 6 o'clock I had a call with one of the candidates who is applying for video editor, so she's going to be coming in my team. Interview went super well. Like I could really see the passion I was looking for in her. Of course the first interaction is not, you don't learn much, but I can sense the enunciation that somebody has in their language, in their speaking, because she could relate to days from her college and how editing is something she wants to do and she wants to learn more and grow more. I found her to be the perfect candidate to become part of my team, and I'm really excited and looking forward to have her in my team because there is no female in my team yet. It's just like it would be nice to have some diversity, and of course just the fact that my team is growing, it feels amazing, right? 5 people in the team. Exciting times ahead like that as well, and let's see how things go. Over the weekend's gonna be primarily dad's work, and I can see a lot of noise approaching, so stop recording now. Thanks so much for being in the Khud, episode number 50. For 50 episodes you've been with me. I owe you thank you. I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.